So welcome again, as you're doing that, to our webinar series, Staying Strong and Positive for Ourselves and Our Children. I'm Alexandra James, Chief Program Officer, filling in for Kathy, who's our CEO today. And we also are joined by Andrew, who's in the background providing us tech support. Hi, Tandra from Los Angeles. Good morning. Hi, Susan from Chicago. Laura from Okina, Illinois. Hi, Anna. Hi, Dana. Hi, Stephanie. Welcome, welcome. Next slide. Hi, Shanae from DC and Lawan. Hi. Hi, Brandon and Kim, I want to think. So today we are starting off a new week in our Vitality series. We're going to be talking this week about nourishing mental and emotional vitality. Hi, Tammy. Next slide, please. So these are the ways to engage. If you are talking, please put your phone on mute. When you're ready to comment, please raise your hand and we'll unmute you, and then you will need to unmute yourself to be heard. Please be patient with us, particularly in the chat. Sometimes the messages come really fast. Feel free to type your comments in the group chat and make sure that it's going to all panelists and attendees. So, of course, in order to make sure this is a great experience and we have some mutual learning, we have some agreements that we follow. We want everyone to speak from your own experience and use I statements. We operate by the golden rules. So we're going to treat other people the way we want to be treated. And we ask that you bring your full presence and no multitasking. If you agree, hi, Denise, please type I agree in the chat. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Crystal, Autumn, Dana. Thank you, everyone, for agreeing. So this week is Mental and Emotional Vitality Week. It is the health and the well-being of your mind. The questions in this domain focus on your feelings and your emotions, as well as your mental capacity and thirst for learning and knowledge. Developing mental and emotional vitality often includes changing your routine, exposing yourselves to different ideas and energy. There are questions on relaxation, meditation, therapy, education, travel, and goals in the other vitality domains. For those of you just joining us for the first time during this vitality journey that we've been taking and will continue through the end of this month, these domains are based off of our Vitality Cafe. And so feel free, you'll see at the end where you can learn more about our Vitality Cafe. So unlike the parent cafes that are based on the protective factors, we have vitality domains for the Vitality Cafe. And this journey that we've been on, each week we're focusing on one domain. So today is the mental and emotional vitality. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Justin. The best of your ability is just fine. So this week, usually the way we start the week off is just thinking about the particular domain. So we're going to start off with, what does mental and emotional vitality look and feel like to you? Feel free to put your answer in the chat, or you can raise your hand and join us in the conversation. So while you're thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and answer the question. For me, mental and emotional vitality looks like that I'm not worrying as much, that I am practicing, like I see Javia, I hope I pronounced that correctly, self-care. Denise says calmness on the inside and a good night's sleep. Yes. Hi, Robin Harvey. She says feels like a peaceful mind. Angie says balance. Lucia says active. Tandra says calm, clean, and clear. Andrew said, for me, it looks like confidence and self-care with myself, while also consistently trying to learn more. Elizabeth says calm and self-care. Yeah, for me, I think that, all of the vitality domains have this underlying theme about self-care. But this one particularly for me, this one in the spiritual vitality, I think is where self-care screams out to me. Brandon says, for me, peaceful, no worries, sleeping well. Yeah, so I think I have a tendency to overthink, which only really gets calmed down if I actually have my morning self-care routine. If I skip it, then my brain just that goes into overdrive. Dana says it looks like peace with calm mind, overall positive feelings, having strong boundaries in place. Yes, confidence and resilience. Alesse, Alice, oh, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. It's feeling free and light. Yes, right? Because when you overthink or worry or just stress, and it tends to make you feel super heavy. Justin says mind calmness, feeling grounded and centered, not feeling anxiety and in a rush, able to think clearly with no impending feeling of deadlines and doom. Oh my goodness. I so agree with that. Stephanie says being present in my emotions. You know, I really like that piece about the rush, Justin. I think that's just like a hallmark of American society. Like we are always rushing. And I've noticed when I vacation other places, and though I'm on vacation, just talking to people, while it might be a hustle and bustle, the way that we like just have to be doing something all the time, it's not the same in other cultures. It's something about American societies like that we can't just do nothing, right? We have to be doing something. Brandon says, stay positive when negative things happen in my life. Yeah, I think that's a really important one. Um, then Justin also said, always needed to get to the next thing. Exactly. Always the next thing. Tandra agreed. And it's almost like you carry that over into the weekend, right? Like I was with a friend a couple of weeks ago and we went to a bed and breakfast and she was like, oh, we're gonna like, let's make a video or let's do this, let's do that. And I'm like, I just want to chill. And she finally came to the same conclusion, like I'm so used to doing stuff that I really just don't take time to be. So I'm not gonna work and not try to turn this into like a work trip. And we just were able to be the whole weekend. And I felt like I had been to a spa just off of not doing anything. Yeah, Jennifer said it's so hard. Totally agree. Um, Luc Lucius agreed. Then Justin says, right, do we even know how to do that anymore? Exactly. It takes time. It takes a while to wind down. It really does. That happens to me at night too, Tandra. Like I have to like start going to bed to switch my mind off. But again, if I do my morning routines or meditate or center myself, then it's easier for me to shut my mind down. So definitely some type of practice. So next question, how is your health and well-being affected by the mind? How is your health and well-being affected by your mind? Oh, we need to go back one. Yep. Um, for me, I think we touched on it a little bit, but if I'm in a state of stress, I usually don't get sick a lot, but if I'm like stressed out, like super stressed out, it shows up in my body as some type of cold or sickness or something. Um, Dana, yeah, where your mind goes, there will the body also. Like, I so agree. Stephanie said, positive mental attitude fuels my positive well being. I love that. Um, I hate mispronouncing your name. I guess it's Alice. She said they're all connected. The body knows what the mind tries to hide. Oh my goodness. Robin says when my mind is in overdrive, my physical vitality suffers in a major way. Agreed. Lucia says surround yourself by positive people. Yeah, I think when I try to like when I think about my health and well-being in my mind, like in order to just even do any new positive habit, if I have like an accountability partner, it's much easier than if I'm left to my own devices. Angie says, when I'm not able to focus my mind, I lose track of when I do eat, when I do sleep, and when I do all the things. No, I lose track. of when I do eat or when I do sleep, or when all the things that regulate my emotions and I spiral out mentally and physically. Yeah, if I'm like hustling and I have like some type of deadline and I really can't afford to do this because I have hypoglycemia, I just totally forget to eat. And then my blood sugar start dropping. And so I've been trying to do better at that, like really making sure I take my lunch, really making sure I have something um for me. And that's like, I mean, that's actually really a good example, because when I don't eat and I'm not, and I'm rushing and rushing and rushing, and my blood sugar drops, everything gets out of whack. It's not just as I'm hungry, I have like an attitude, I feel dizzy. And so that's just came out naturally, but a great illustration about that mind body connection. Um, Dana says, when I feel better, it promotes me wanting to do more things to feel better, right? It's like the like attract like. Jennifer says, when my mind and emotions are in a good place, I will more easily continue healthy physical habits and have positive self-talk to keep me going. Denise says, my body actively feels my thoughts and my thoughts are adjusted by my physical activity, right? It's like a loop. It's like this interdependent, interconnected loop. And, one thing connects to the other. And so if we don't do that, exactly, Jennifer said, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So like that's the gimmick, right? I said this before. We don't exercise because we're tired, but then when we're tired, but when we exercise, we're not tired anymore. Tanja says, yes, I have learned that I have to honor myself physically, mentally, and emotionally, or else my body will start speaking up for itself and shut down. And when she takes over, it's no, sis don't play. I know you. She said when her body takes over, she don't play. Yeah, it's like sit down now, go to sleep now, stop doing and get some being. I totally, totally understand that. Thank you all for joining in. Stephanie says, as a family that suffers from anxiety disorders, oops, they're coming fast. As a family that suffers from anxiety disorder, when our minds are hurting, our bodies physically hurt as well. So true. Andrew says, there's a snowball effect with my health and well being and my mind. And that snowball can be positive and negative. When I'm positive, I'm building off what's going on well, keeping the enthusiasm and mental well being going. When I'm negative, I overanalyze everything and start to critique myself. So true. Elizabeth says, when my mind says you're feeling good, my body says, yes, you are. When I'm off, my body says, listen up, mom, we need to get it together. Listen, that is so true. Next slide, Andrew. Dana says, so then the obvious move would be the reverse is true. Move as though I'm doing healthier things for me and my health. Exactly, right? Like sometimes you have to trick yourself as or do the inverse of it to make sure that you kind of stay in that place. And it's hard, it's a struggle, which is why for me having someone that like I'm accountable to kind of helps me stay in that place. My friends, my colleagues at Be Strong Families do that. One of my colleagues that's on here is Robin Harvey. We work very closely together, and we kind of do that naturally for each other, within the context of work, but also just as a person, like how is your well-being and taking that seriously. So how do you keep your mind active and what are you learning? How do you keep your mind active and what are you learning? So, rest in peace to my mother who passed in December from cancer. But one of the things that she always did, and she was super sharp at 74, which is not old, but has like her memory is like an elephant, always been. But she swore by crossword puzzles. She said, I'm gonna play crossword puzzles till I get super old, because she said she felt like it kept her mind sharp. Crossword puzzles, word searches, any type of games like that, which is proven to kind of keep your mind sharp. April says, find a creative outlet to stimulate my mind and well-being. Yep, I enjoy making cards. Oh, nice, like greeting cards, doing puzzles, and just being in the moment. Javia says, learning new things like a new dance style or movement activity, reading, learning new things in general. If you're left-handed, do stuff on the right to help your brain. Interesting. I have twins, and one is left-handed and one is right-handed. They're like mirror twins. I have to tell her that. Denise says, I'm still looking for a good hobby. Tammy says, always learning, taking online courses right now in positive psychology. Oh, neat. Researching and reading and learning from those around me. Angie says, knitting, reading, board games, word searches, finding people I can chill with and just be and hang out with keeps my mind active but chill. Yeah, I think that but chill is so important. Michelle says, I always try new recipes and baking. Tandra says, we have family game night. Lucia says, I read a lot to be active. For me, I'm a poet. So I like to write poetry. I'm also a hip hop MC. So I like to freestyle, which is like freestyling off the top of your mind. That's my equivalent to the word searches. Because you have to think and it makes me like stay sharp. Crystal says, my kids actually have this puzzle shown on the side. I love doing it to calm my brain. Also like Sudoku and drawing and coloring. And my mom played that Sudoku too. Elizabeth says, I'm learning how to plant veggies and I've had a lot of success. This has come from someone who's killed every plant I've ever received. I love to paint also. I love to paint too, and I'm trying. My green thumb is ridiculous, and I have a whole urban gardening certificate. When I'm with other people, it's good, but yeah, I've been working on it too. Um, Justin says it's been only school for me during the week. Graduate this week. Congratulations. I also do woodwork. Oh, nice. And make cutting boards or how do you pronounce that, Andrew? Cartoon? I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't want to mispronounce it. Boards on the weekend for my mental break.
I think it's charcuterie.
Charcuterie, that's right. Okay, charcuterie boards. That's really neat, Justin. Andrew says a lot of reading. In the past year, I've been more intentional on how I read, and it's given me a sense of resolve and energy with what I want to achieve in 2021. I also like listening to music and processing the lyrics. It's really great for keeping the mind active. Yeah, that's how I feel about hip hop, like good hip hop, not trash hip hop. Denise says, I just bought blueberry bushes, trying that as a hobby, sustaining gardening. Yeah, I heard the commercial about the you can plant like the different fruit trees in your backyard. I was thinking like, well, I should try that. And they said they're not too trees are easier, a little bit easier to keep from what I remember in the class that I took, versus like just the indoor house plants, because of course you don't have to worry about the sun. That's the issue I have indoors. Um, so yeah, let us know how that goes, Denise. Lucia says, I've been gardening with my little girls. Nice. Denise says, yes, I kill indoor plants. Me too. It's something about, I don't know. I just think maybe I don't have in the right window or something. I think the other thing to this question is that if you're a reader and you have a spirit of constantly learning, that helps me. I'm also a person that I like physical books. I know I'm old school, but something about like turning the books and looking at the books is just a better situation for me to retain whatever I'm reading. And then Chiffon says journaling. Yeah, journaling is the best one. You go back and you look like, oh, was I really thinking that? Like, what was I thinking about? I have a friend of mine that's like an avid journal. I mean, she may have hundreds of journals. She's been journaling since she was a teenager, and I met her in our 20s, and she just has stacks and stacks of journals. Next question. Andrew said, I started making up physical books. I started marking up physical books with the pen while I'm reading them so I can always go back and find what 2021 Andrew thought was relevant. LOL. Yeah, that's why I like the physical books. And I know in the e-readers you can highlight it and all of that, but it's just not the same for me. Um, Live as if you could die tomorrow and learn as if you will live forever. Oh my goodness. I love that. Dana says, I do that too, Andrew. Yeah, I do too. How do you manage your negative emotions? So, how do you manage your negative emotions? Angie says, I'm big on labeling what I'm feeling and just being okay with having that feeling at the moment. April says, talk it out with someone I trust. Denise says, walking and taking it out, talking it out with myself. Um, yeah, I do those things too. And then the other thing is I've been trying to replace them by myself. Like when I'm like being conscious of what I'm thinking and replacing the negative thought with a positive. What I've noticed is I still have to do that, but some of the repetitive negative thoughts that I've done that they don't pop up. Stephanie says the 5 x 5 rules. If it's not going to matter in 5 years, I don't spend more than 5 minutes letting the negativity overcome me. Oh my goodness, I love that. Javia says saying them out loud helps. Saying them out loud helps. I really like that one. Lucia says talking. Oh, they're coming fast. Hold on. Talking your emotions with your partner is a good way. Dana says champagne Thursdays. Hey, mostly kidding. Talking out with friends or families that I trust. I also have a great counselor. Yeah, I would just switch out wine Thursdays. So I feel you, Dana. Elizabeth says breathe, listen to music, speaking to friends about it, and then release it. Yeah, right. Because sometimes you ask for advice, but then you just keep talking about the same thing. I've been working on that too. Like this is what it is. I'm not gonna be able to change it. I need to just stop talking about it because I'm feeding it, energy. Especially if it's something I can't change. Andrew says same, staying big picture is easy, get lost in one day and feeling down about myself. Zooming out and looking at the growth I've achieved in the last 10 years puts those negative emotions in perspective. What negative emotions did I have 10 years ago? Which ones have I been able to overcome? What can I do in the next 10 years with negative emotions that keep popping up? Those are awesome questions, Andrew. Denise says, Mimosa Mondays. Hey, Tanja says, I've been digging deeper, looking into the root of why certain things are triggers, actually addressing the root so that the negative emotions have meaning and I can learn and grow from them. I think that's so excellent. I think that's so excellent. Um, the other thing I like to do too is I listen to a lot of those YouTube affirmations where you actually have the YouTube affirmations and they say them in the background. That's really, really good. Any other? Any other? Oh, Tandra says yes in the Calm app. I've seen that. I've seen that app before. I haven't tried it out yet. I might have to look into that because sometimes the YouTube's that if your internet connection and everybody's using it gets unstable. Usually sometimes things do better on the app. Aisha says I talked to my therapist. Dana says I've been focusing on which are my children's triggers and which are mine. Hold on. Which are my children's triggers and which are mine? Sometimes they're mine, but then they're not. I need to let go of theirs and pray on it. I also believe that other domains of vitality are essential to addressing those negative emotions. My mental and emotional vitality especially builds off my social vitality. And Tandra says the Calm app is amazing. It's free for Kaiser members and there's something for everyone. Oh, thank you for that resources. That resource. Anybody else have any resources? Please add them inside of the chat. Thank you, Andrew. Any other ways that people manage their negative emotions or things that you do that you think helps increase your mental and emotional vitality? Aisha says, yes, deep breathing and the Stop, Think, Breathe app. Oh, that's another interesting one. Javi says, Insight Timer is another app. And then Tandra says, if you have Kaiser, enter through their wellness blog to access the app for free. Robin said meditation every day. And Andrew is quick on the draw, putting those apps, those resources in the chat. And then Dana says to stop, think, and breathe. Yeah, I'm going to have to copy this. I needed to get to these. apps and see. Because I try to, I want to give my children a heads up. So from very early, I've been trying to like teach them about calming themselves and meditation. So like they can be ahead of me and more evolved than I am by the time they're my age. Angie says, engage my other senses, go outside and notice the sounds and smells. Stephanie says, pray, let go, and let God. Andrew says, I'm going to have to try these apps. I've been trying to set a morning ritual to get into the right zone. So I've got to be more consistent with that. Yes, I agree. Oh, there are kid versions of the apps. Yay. Thank you, Aisha. Yes, walks are important. Laura said, just added the Calm app. Thank you. I think the other, Jennifer says, count to 10 before reacting. When I remember, when I do, I usually, once I get to 5, I realize that my reaction is overkill. Yeah, I know, right? If we would just be still. My children use the Moshi Kids Sleep and Mindfulness on YouTube. Oh, wow. I need to write that one down. Thank you. These are also great, so many great resources. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and copy and paste like all of these. The other thing is something I thought that somebody said that was really important that I was just in the midst of reading all the apps was about learning from the negative emotions. I thought that was really powerful and seeing why things trigger you. I've been on that journey too. Like, why does this irritate me that this person does or this situation? I think that's so important to managing the negative emotions because we all know, right? The four agreements, which is one of B. Strong's guiding books of how we operate as far as our cultural, organizational culture. But right, that whatever something that somebody does negatively to you is really not about you. But it's you got to keep remembering that. So what is the trigger in there that makes you react a certain way? I think that was just so great that she shared that. Dana says sesamestreet.org has great resources for children and parents. Thank you, Dana. Oh, so we have 3 minutes. Please keep adding any other resources, any comments that you have. Andrew says, another way I try to manage negative emotions is to keep that negative emotion contained. The worst thing I could do is let the negative emotion seep into other elements of my life. Oh, that is so true. But that's that thing, right, Andrew? Like it's like you have one bad thing, and if you keep focusing on it, it seems like the whole day gets messed up, and then everything is negative and everything is this. So it's like you gotta like cut it out, stop it in the moment, or they're like yep, snowball out of control. Or as you said, it's the spiral of negativity is real. I agree. It is so real. Next slide. So we are doing our vitality journey. We want you to join us on our journey. You can follow us on Facebook. You see all of Twitter, Instagram, to YouTube. Just check us out and post how you're on your journey and what it's like. And Angie says, logging and recording your mood on paper and app to see if you can find a pattern over time and then change the place, those people, and that behavior, etc. Oh, that's a great one. Dana says, I've been teaching my kids to do a twice a day check-in. What am I feeling? Can I do anything about it? How can I release it? And how can I talk to someone to help me? That is so awesome. I love all of these. Angela, please copy this chat for me. I need this chat. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about race and culture and insecurity in modern times with Ruben. He's been a regular on our webinar, so that should be great. Then we have Robin, who's here with us, and my colleague, Healthy Mind for the Long Haul. On Thursday, fluffing, wiggling, and raspberries. How movement for health can be fun with Yoli. She's also a regular. And then Friday, of course, we are going to have the Mental and Emotional Vitality Cafe. So make sure you check that out. That's actually 1 hour. And then replenish yourself through the domains of vitality. We have our Vitality Cafe in the box. We have Recovering Together in Cafe, which is for people who are in recovery and the people who love them. And then we have Vitality posters. Please go check out our resources and support us so we can continue to provide this webinar free. We thank you for being here with us, for joining us, and we thank you you for everyone for participating and for all of the great resources that you shared. And we will see you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. And remember to think and continue to push and master your mental